Hi everybody, and welcome back to Live Between Paychecks Kitchen. I'm Oz, that's Jack.
Hello everybody.
And today we're going to do a simple one that we got hooked on down here. It's super cheap, super easy, and there's some stuff we really want to try. So we're just going to do some hamburger steak. Man, let's get this done. So we got like one onion, we're not even going to use all of that. We got this new type of gravy packet we're going to try out, and we got some potatoes that we're going to try with it, which I really wanted to try because they're bacon and cheddar chipotle mashed potatoes, but they're powdered, so we're going to try those. Now, start off with, you got 2 cups of water. Like I said, we're just reading the instructions off the potatoes, and you let that get to boiling while you're messing with everything else. Now, the onion, we're going ahead and slice it now. We got our big knife, and we're only going to use, like I said, just maybe 2 inches of it, like not a lot. Unless you're a big fan of onions, you can do more, but this is what we're making. You can leave them as rings or cut them up, do whatever, and set those aside. Now, you got your, like, hamburger steak is just hamburger patties that aren't hamburger, right? You don't have to season them or do anything weird. So we cut them out of our tube. I think that's our 70, our chub o meat, and the 73%. So you can just see the grease squishing through your fingers, and then we make the little patties. Now there's a couple of different ways that you can make the patties. I've seen like fancy stuff that does it. Like I just put them, make kind of a ball, and make them flat. Now this is something my father told me would work, and I'm going to try it out. You take a spoon and you make a divot right in the middle of the patty, and it keeps it from shrinking.
Yeah, they don't shrink nearly as much.
Right.
Or at
like
all.
You tried it before,
yeah,
right?
I did it when I grill them. It works pretty well.
Okay, so this is just a cheap kitchen hack. Just kind of keep those patties from shriveling. That was a whole pound of that we got in there. Yep. So we go ahead and put this, like I said, medium high. They're kind of thick, so you don't want them to cook too fast, or the inside won't cook so much. Then just take them, make sure it's nice and warm, and you can fit all of these in here. Just kind of space them around. Doesn't matter if they touch or whatever at this point.
The food can touch in this case.
Yeah. Well, it's not touching other food. It's just doing that. You take that plastic spatula and
mash it
flat. You don't want to mash it too much. Now, by this point, your water should be boiling. Got a nice rolling boil there. Go ahead and turn it off, and then you take that powdered potatoes and listen to your ancestors spinning their graves as you use cooked mashed potatoes that are powdered. Oh. And then stir them in. Like they tell you to whisk it in or whatever. I just stir it and try to get all the lumps out of it. Make sure it's not just a big wad of powder in there and waiting to just cinnamon challenge somebody down the throat when they gotta eat it.
It's a couple days worth of sodium right there.
Well, there's nothing wrong with sodium as long as you don't add more salt, Dad. And just, be sure to stir it around. You don't want it too lumpy, but you don't want it too runny kind of stuff. But this easy stuff here, like I said, once it's thick, it's really good. And we tried it's the bacon, cheddar, chipotle stuff, so we really wanted to try this one out.
It disappeared fast.
It sticks to the spoon real easy, so you're good to go. Just turn off the heat, remove it from the heat. Now, you still got your hamburger patties, right? Just take those, flip them over. It's starting to brown a little bit, or they'll gray some. You kind of get that brown color a little bit. But you want to cook them all the way through because you don't want that steak tartare, which is just straight, rare the hamburger meat stuff in there. And you'll see it's kind of pink around the edges. Now, you take that, move it off, and then we took and had to drain it a few times, you notice, because it was at 73%, which is kind of gnarly. Now, we take the potatoes off because we're going to use the same pot. And we take those, put them in a bowl, and then we do this. So what we did is turn that back up. It was 1.5 cups of water to boil. This is the new powdered gravy
this is for
stuff.
The gravy.
Yeah. So you get 1.5 cups, put that in there to let that boil, and then you take another 1/2 cup while it's boiling and stir in the powder to it, and then stir that to add that in there. Now keep your burger, like you don't have to flip it all the time. I think we're spending 2-3 minutes per side to let it cook a little bit, but try to keep it evenly and keep it from like cupping and coming apart.
Yep.
So we're turning it around pretty good. Now, like I said, it's greasy, so we've had to drain the grease once or twice, but you don't want to take off too much because you're going to use that to cook the onions later. So you don't have to put extra butter or grease or anything.
Oh, really? Here comes the water and powder.
Right. So now your water is boiling. So once it's boiled, you mix the powder into 1/2 cup. Again, this is the instructions. I don't know, but it makes like 2 full cups of gravy that was actually pretty good. The trick in stirring it is just like you're making like chocolate milk. Like you don't want to splash it all over the place, but you want to knock those little wads of dry powder that are bobbing around there. Yeah. Like Mitch Hedberg, me, and don't want like the Sahara Desert popping in your eye.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So just kind of stir it around as best you can, and then you're supposed to just put it in there. Now, it said to whisk it. I don't have a proper whisk because that costs money. So we put all our lumps of the Sahara, everything, into the boiling water. Set that aside, and then you get a fork. And then you just stir like crazy. Like, this is not sped up. This is how fast my hand moves. Ladies. And you just stir it, you knock the lumps down, and you'll feel it, and you'll see it starting to thicken. You'll see it on there. Turn it off from heat, move it, and set it to the side. Now back to our meat. Like, now you can see it starting to brown, like that's the color you want on it. Okay? So we go ahead and flip those over. Keep them stirred around. Once they're brown like that on both sides, then you're set. Mash it down. It sounds cool. Sounds like you're actually doing something in the kitchen other than just staring at the meat.
I'm hoping it's done.
Pull it out, put it on your paper towel covered paper plate. Yeah. And then with the grease in there, just pour those onions that you cut up. Like, we slice some up and we left those as the rings. And you can leave those in there. Now use your plastic spatula to knock them around and get the grease on them. Now, you don't want it too high. Again, you want it like maybe medium. You might want to turn it down a little bit so you don't burn them. But you're just going to scald them, give them a little bit of caramelization on there, just a little bit of browning, and you're just going to keep stirring those. This is where it starts smelling good. Like, you can season these if you want. You can put on seasoned salt. Is usually a good one that everybody likes to add to it, or anything else, or any kind of chilies you can add in there. But you can see them starting to collapse a little bit. You can cut some of the bigger ones, and once they start folding down, I don't like them all brown and completely wilted. I like a little crunch in mine, so you can kind of see where I got a little bit of brown, and I'm going to go ahead and pull them off. And that's how you serve them. Just put a little bit of onion and gravy on top of your hamburger steak. Smother the whole thing in gravy, because that's just what it's worth. And I think it cost maybe $6 at the most. I think the hamburger was like $2, which is the most expensive thing. That was pretty good. And there you have it. Another good, super cheap, super easy soul food thing made by a couple of white guys. It's really good. You should try it. Let us know how it goes. You can find us on Instagram at Live in Between, or on Facebook at Live in Between Paychecks Kitchen, or right here on YouTube, Tuesdays and Fridays. We do these videos every week. And if not, you can also see us over on Patreon if you want to help us out and quit doing all the super cheap foods. We're still going to do the super cheap foods, but we have some people over there that can help us out. We really appreciate all our patrons that we have now, and we'll see you next time.